Globalization and the big shift. That is to say, the rising weight of emerging markets in the global economy provoke a lot of debate and even some fear. The Depth Index of Globalization 2013 report provides a comprehensive, up-to-date analysis of these phenomena to serve as a basis for a more informed discussion amongst public, policymakers, business executives and the general public. IESE Professor Pankaj Ghemawat discusses the highlights of the report.
First of all, in terms of levels of globalization, DIG is based on up-to-date data for 139 countries that account for 95% of the world's population, 99% of the world's GDP. We look not just at trade and capital flows, which is customary, but also at cross-border people and information flows. And this allows us to make the point that while globalization's post-crisis recovery did stall in 2012, thanks to stagnation in terms of trade depth and declines in foreign direct investment depth, those decreases were at least partially mitigated by the continued growth that we saw on cross-border people and information flows. Second, in terms of the big shift, the Depth Index of Globalization makes it clear that most of the increases in globalization that the world has seen in recent years are due to emerging economies. But again, the report drills down and notes that there have been considerable variations in the speed of this shift. So for instance, while mobile subscribers have shifted in terms of their center of mass from advanced economies to emerging economies with great rapidity in recent years, if we look at the share of the world's largest companies accounted for by emerging economies, that share is still quite limited, even though these companies have already started to give multinationals from advanced countries a good run for their money, both at home and abroad. Third, in terms of the interplay between globalization and the big shift, one of the most striking findings from the Depth Index of Globalization report is this notion that while emerging economies are roughly as intensive in their trade depths as are advanced economies, that really doesn't apply to the other components of globalization that we measure. So their relative levels of integration are only 1/4 as much as advanced economies when we talk about capital flows and people flows, and emerging economies are only 1/9 as integrated with the rest of the world when it comes to information flows. So if these economies continue to grow and to develop along similar lines, it seems likely that they will be the ones to continue to power globalization going forward. Fourth, in terms of policy implications, first of all, in terms of public policy, the headline implication is that given the growth that we're seeing in the world economy, largely thanks to emerging economies, growth forecasts for the world, despite recent gloom and doom, still look better than the rate at which the world economy grew in the 1980s, the 1990s, or the first 10 years of this century. Our conclusion from the exercise is that globalization still offers great untapped potential to make the world more prosperous, that we still have a much better chance of progressing if we continue to work with each other rather than hunkering down behind national borders.